Hey everyone, this is Daniel.
And I'm Jun.
And we are
Korean.
American.
Daniel.
Hey Jun.
You look good in your hat.
Oh, thank you.
And with your headphones on, you look like super hipster.
Do I?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, these hats are very special to me.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are watching or maybe can't see, it's branded Iyagi.
Yagi.
Which is the name of our media brand.
Why are you laughing? Why are you embarrassed?
Under which exists one thing, which is Korean American Podcast.
Yes. So the first one, yeah, but we'll have many to come.
First of many, yeah. But Jun, your logo design for this was sick.
Okay.
I love it. It's like the 4 quarters of the Taegeuk compressed into one.
Yeah.
I remember, whiteboarding it here.
Yeah.
Man, it's already been 9 months since we started this.
9 months already.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
But,
fun fact about the flag thing?
Yeah.
There are meanings for each one, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah, it's like wind. It's like elements, right?
Yeah.
Like wind, earth, fire, water, something like that.
One of which is in my name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude, you should give it a special, make it highlighted.
It's like 건곤 감리.
Yeah.
It's like sky, earth, whatever.
Yeah.
And the earth part is
in your name.
Yeah, 곤.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact.
But not only the branding and Iyagi and everything, but a good friend of mine, JJ, he got these hats made as well. And gave me one run, I think was 12 hats.
There's a reason why your friend gave these hats to you.
Yeah.
And it's because you hit a very important milestone personally, right?
At least in American culture, it feels like it's a really big milestone, which is I just turned 40 recently.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's and honestly, I've never been one for birthdays. Never really celebrated my birthday growing up, honestly. We might have ordered a pizza from Costco, ate with the family.
Why did you think you were not big on birthdays?
I want to get into that later. I feel like Korean culture in general is not that into birthday celebrations like American culture is.
It definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
But me growing up, it was still a thing. Like my parents, they didn't really think, in my parents' generation, they really didn't think birthdays was a big deal.
Yeah.
But my generation, I think.
So growing up, what was like your typical birthday celebration? Let's say when you were, I don't know, like 10 years old or something.
We'd host a birthday party.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have an epic birthday party story.
Oh yeah.
I think I maybe
shared
it during the podcast, maybe in some other episode. But anyways, so we lived in the States from 1990 to 1992.
Yeah.
Back then, before not a lot of people went to the U.S. or even if they did, they went there for immigration.
Yeah.
And
they never came back.
Yeah. We're very unique in that aspect, right?
Yeah.
So we had a barbecue grill when we were living in the States, and we brought it back to Korea.
What?
Yeah.
You brought this back with you?
Yeah. And barbecue.
Sorry, like a portable one or like a big gas grill?
The big one, the gas one. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
And to think about it, even now, those gas grills
you don't see them around anywhere. Yeah.
So think about how rare it was back in the days in 1992,
Man,
right?
That was the technology you were importing from America back then.
Yeah.
Gas grill.
Yeah. And so I think it was my 10th or 11th birthday.
Yeah.
We hosted a birthday party, and then my dad, he cooked on the grill.
Yeah.
In the apartment parking lot area. And we invited all my friends over.
Yeah.
It was an epic birthday party.
It sounds like a core memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I feel bad if I would forget, but I don't remember having anything where I invited friends. Again, we'd maybe get pizza and eat at home and celebrate with the family, which again, in hindsight was fine. But looking back, I think definitely, Americans really celebrate birthdays big time. So
you don't have any memorable birthday parties growing up? Or birthday presents?
Man, I may need to ask my older siblings if they remember, but yeah, to be honest, I don't remember anything. And I think, of course, maybe the first memorable one was when I turned 21, right? I can legally drink in America. So in college, a bunch of my friends, we all, got together and drank some alcohol. But yeah, other than that, yeah, growing up, definitely birthdays were not a big deal for me. But
I didn't want to go deep into birthdays
no.
specifically,
Yeah.
but I was also very curious about what child birthdays are like these days in Korea.
Oh, in Korea?
Yeah, because you might know better.
Oh, yeah. Very standard.
And I can tell you how birthdays were like in my childhood.
Yeah, so I'll share a story. Okay, so first of all, I think the most standard birthday party growing up now in Korea is, there's these things that we've talked about on this podcast called kids cafes, which are just awesome. And, the kid might invite, maybe 4 to 6 of their friends.
Only 4 to 6?
Yeah, it's smaller. Again, I'll talk about that
I can
more
already
in a bit.
sense a lot of drama.
Who gets invited, who doesn't.
Yeah.
And they just go to the kids cafe for 2 hours and just play, right?
That's it?
Yeah.
But you go even on non-birthdays. What's so special about going to kid cafes on birthdays?
Well, you get a cake this time and they sing you happy birthday and they bring presents. So
they have like a thing.
if you rent the room and the room might be a little bigger, they might have a minimum food fee or whatever, then you can rent the room. But otherwise, you just meet at a table, get a cake, bring presents. I think that's your most typical birthday.
That's it?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a little disappointed. I would think that it's like more, over the head.
Birthdays,
crazy.
And this is definitely something we should discuss more. But yeah, birthdays, I'd say, feel more subdued in Korea, not just for the kids, but for grown-ups as well.
Yeah.
Because when I was talking about my 40th, I know other people who are turning 40 here as well. In Korea, it just doesn't seem like a thing.
Yeah.
It's like they don't think of it as a special party.
Yeah.
In fact, the women are like, why do you even celebrate your birthday? We're not happy getting older, right? So there's that thing too. But it just feels much more subdued. And anyway, the story I wanted to share, in the US, you invite your whole class and it might be like 20, 25 people. You might invite the whole neighborhood. It's like almost an open invite because you're maybe hosting at your house or something like that. And, it's kind of a open invite, bigger thing. And, part of it too, I think, was COVID restrictions when we first moved here. But our son was in first grade and we were just in our minds, I guess, in an American mindset, we were like, oh, let's invite the whole first grade class, for our son's birthday. And this was before we realized this just wasn't the standard.
Yeah.
I think what made that, first of all, it was great, right? We got to meet some of the other parents and kids. But what shocked us too is out of these 20 kids that we invited, I think only 1, maybe 2 of the parents stayed. So this is another huge thing. That's
you
different.
Only send the kids?
Yeah, the parents dropped off the kids and said, we'll be back in 2 hours, 3 hours to pick up our kids. And so honestly, to be honest, my wife and I were very stressed. It was me, her, and I think one other parent who stuck around trying to manage 20 plus, first graders.
Oh, that's good. When you said 1, I was like, I immediately thought only 1 came. I was like, oh no. That's good that 20 plus.
No, I think everyone came because they were very a big thing during COVID lockdowns too was the lack of socialization in kids, right? And so I think they were excited for that. And also, Koreans are pretty polite, so I think they'll accept an invite if they are invited.
That's true.
Even if they don't feel close or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, my wife and I were shocked that all the parents left. And so it created a very stressful birthday, to be honest, trying to manage these 20 first graders.
Like me understanding Korean culture, I was like, why wouldn't they leave? Why would they stick around? That would be super awkward.
See, it's so different, right? In America, I'm excited to meet the other parents, to get to know them, to socialize with them, bond over common things, and try to become friendly with them, right? Our kids are friends, or at least in the same class, we should get to know each other. This definitely harkens back to our neighbor episode. But I think in Korea, that's just not a thing. Just like by default, getting to know all the other parents in your kids' classroom, right? So yeah, anyway, that was a welcome to Korea moment for us. But yeah, I didn't want to talk all about birthdays, but I did want to talk about in general how Koreans celebrate kind of major life milestones and how it might differ from the US. And yeah, I have some examples I'd want to share on how I think modern Korea differs from my expectations. And yeah, so
when you said how Korean birthdays are more subdued, it again ties back to the most common theme of our podcast, which is individualism versus collectivism or relationism.
Mm-hmm.
Like individuals are not that important in Korea as they are in the States.
Yeah.
So my birthday celebration is if you think about it, it's a very individualistic celebration of like myself, right? So
wait, before we move on though, why did you have such a blowout individualistic birthday party growing up? Do you think your parents had imported that culture from America, or was that a thing back then in Korea more so than it is now?
I think it's a little bit of both. Kids' birthday parties were still, even when I was growing up, a thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I believe in my parents' generation it wasn't. You're saying it's more subdued now than before?
That's what I'm trying to get at, because was that party inviting all your friends to your house back in Daegu, back in the day?
Yeah.
Was that the norm, or was that an exception? Because at least today in Seoul, I think that would be very uncommon. Yeah.
Really? In my understanding, when I was growing up, it was the norm.
Okay. You just invite the whole neighborhood, invite all your friends in school.
Minus the barbecue grill. But
your parents just went to show off their American barbecue grill.
Yes, I think so. Or they wanted to make use of it, probably.
You can't just get a grill, though. You need the gas canister, too, that comes along with it.
I don't know how they worked it out. Anyways, there's a typical like birthday party scene that I can think of when I was growing up.
Yeah.
You invite your friends over, your parents prepare like a table full of food, and typically what you have is like these stacks of kimbap randomly. Like it's like always stacked.
It's arranged like beautifully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like it's like stacked in a cake form. Not that it's resembling a cake, but it's like always stacked this way.
Okay.
And then you have like fried chicken.
Oh.
Yeah. And I don't think pizza was that popular when I was growing up. So fried chicken, like some good like japchae. Those are like famous party foods in Korea.
Yeah.
And I like those like party food type things that like fill the entire table, and then you have a cake, and then you celebrate.
Okay.
And then you play with the kids, whatever.
Yeah.
That was natural. It was a common thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm surprised that it's more subdued now, even for kids.
That's my sense. Again, I might be in a bit of a bubble, right? Our kids go to international school. It's a private school, so it might definitely be a bubble, but that is definitely the sense I get. Birthday parties today are smaller. They're quieter.
Interesting.
To your point too, I think they don't want to cause drama about who was and wasn't invited, and so I do think it's a little bit more subdued and more private. But that is in line, June, with my general observations of Korea today. I don't know if I should transition now, but we had our fourth kid in Korea, and for all our kids, we threw a big door, first year birthday party. And I don't know if you remember me talking about this, but for our fourth kid in Korea, we were asking our Korean friends, like, oh, like, where did you do your door? Like, who did you invite, etc. And they were like, oh, they don't really celebrate door anymore. Sorry, it's strictly almost a family thing, and it's very small.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's not my understanding of doors. Like, our doors in the U.S. were like, 100-person affairs. We invite all our friends, all their kids, like just anyone we know in our community. We're inviting them to celebrate our kid's first year birthday. And I guess my understanding is this is just how it was in Korea before. But yeah, they were like, it's generally very small and just immediate family. And not just like, when they say immediate family, I wasn't even sure if I should invite my uncles and aunts, right? That's like very close connection to me. In the US, that's like basically, immediate family. But there was like, I wouldn't say drama, but there was a lot of back and forth. Like, oh, well, my dad was like, when, your Jaganappa had their kids' door or their grandkids' door, we were not invited. So maybe we should invite them. Like, not to be tit for tat, but just to kind of like, that's the expectation. Maybe they don't expect to be invited. It would be a burden if they were invited. They have to come, get like a gold bracelet, like, prepare all that.
Yeah.
And so let's just keep it to your family and parents and grandparents, and that's it. No one else.
You hit a very important spot there, which is the golden bracelet or the golden ring or whatever, or the money that they bring.
Yeah.
This is my understanding, and this is a fairly recent thing. I think like maybe 20 years ago, it was more popular to have like a big door celebration. So I think there are multiple factors. Number one, the reason why 돌 or like 100일 before the 돌, the 100th day after birth, was such an important thing in Korea was because of the what's the word?
Infant mortality rate.
Infant mortality rate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a big celebration that they survived in the first place.
Yeah.
And that became a tradition. Mm-hmm. And now it's like almost irrelevant.
Yeah, because almost every baby will live to reach that age.
So there's less of a fundamental basis of why they're celebrating that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a utilitarian way to think almost. We're like, oh, why are we having this party? The core reason's no longer there, so let's not have it.
But that's not a big factor. Okay, I'm just saying that's just one.
Okay.
The second one, in my understanding, is because, as you mentioned, there's burden for the people who are invited.
Yeah.
And there's always the back and forth of like, even for weddings, right? When you're inviting people, it's very a calculative thing.
Yeah. It's accounting.
Like, who comes, who gives how much, to the extent of everyone keeps an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of who came and who gave how much. And now in modern Korean society where a lot of people choose not to marry and not to have kids, like having those consecutive like marriage and then like the following tour,
it adds up. Yeah.
It adds up.
Mm-hmm. And it might never be reciprocated, right? Because that other party might not get married, might not have kids. I see.
So it doesn't work in that sense.
Yeah.
So people decided not to have like a big tour party.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the sigh about?
It's just sad, Jun, right? Like, you're here to celebrate this beautiful baby reaching the 1-year milestone. And, forget whether they, used to not reach it as frequently or not. The fact is, like, this baby reached a significant milestone in their life. And you want your family and friends and people who care about you and that kid to be there to celebrate. And Koreans, in my mind, make it all about, okay, well, the accounting, the burden on them, right? Like, let's just not do it at all.
Yeah, I see.
It's sad, right? Like that's not the point, but they make it an excuse to cancel the whole thing altogether.
Yeah.
But again, that's my very individualistic perspective. I can understand, okay, if you're considering the guests and their, burden ahead of your own, I guess, desires to celebrate your kid, why you might feel that way. So I do think I understand a little bit, but again, I think the priorities are so different than mine, and thinking about the reason why we want to have this party in the first place. It's just sad. So anyway, our fourth child who was born in Korea, the door, we kept it strictly to family. We had no non-family present. And it ended up being close to, I don't remember exactly, maybe like 30 people. So it wasn't small. But at the same time, right, like again, it was more like 100-person affair for our other kids in the US. So yeah, it did feel, it was a bit shocking that the door was so understated in Korea compared to what we had been doing in the US. So
I would imagine inviting 30 people is already
on the higher end. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Because we really, we invited all our extended family.
I'm surprised you didn't talk about the special events that happen in Tor.
Oh,
the doljanchi.
Torabi, yeah.
So for our audience that don't know about what doljanchi is, it's so in the Tor, which is basically the first birthday of the baby, what they do is that they prepare a collection of different things on the table and let the baby grab whatever that catches their mind first. And they're usually like threads, right? Or like pencils.
There's like the standard ones,
and it determines their like fate, kind of. The belief.
It's like a fun fortune prediction thing. Like, what's their profession going to be when they grow up? Yeah.
What did what did they grab?
Don't ask me. I forgot. When I was growing up, I remember when I first heard about this. I asked my parents, "Oh, what did I grab?"
Yeah.
They were like, "We don't remember," and I was so offended. I was like, "How could you forget?"
Yeah.
But now that I have kids, I understand.
You don't remember?
I don't understand. I don't remember any of them.
You might have photos or videos though.
Yeah, for sure I should. But no, I mean,
Interesting.
I think our second grabbed food.
So,
noodles represents long life. I think our first went for a ball, but I could be wrong.
What's a ball?
Athlete.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say, our third is actually a little sad because she was a COVID baby. So I'm not even sure we had a doljanchi. No, we did at home, I remember. But that one was very small. It was like 10 of us. And then for our fourth, I want to say they grabbed the judge's gavel.
Oh, judge's gavel.
But I'm not sure. God,
okay.
It's so bad.
Anyways, okay.
But, yeah, but okay, Jun, I also have to say a common thing at the doljanchi, the dol party, is you ask the guests to predict, put their name on a thing and have a raffle.
Oh, really?
Oh, at least in the US, this is something that was like a standard doljabi thing. Like audience participation, right? Like,
interesting that they have a standard tour thing in the US.
You put all the items that the kid could grab, and then every guest writes their name on a paper and puts it in the bucket that they predict the kid will grab. And then, once the kid grabs something, they take those names and pick one, and there's prizes, right? Like $50 gift card, whatever.
Sounds like a horse race thing.
It is, right? Like when the kid's like sitting there
cheering for
your thing. Yeah. Wait, before I move on, is this not a thing in Korea? Have you been to a doljanchi?
I don't think I've ever been to a doljanchi.
So again, I assume everything we do in America as Korean Americans are coming from some Korean thing, but maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
you do that for your
and this is what I wanted to get to. We did do this in Korea. But our family was so not into it. Like they were so like disinterested, and they're like, "Oh, do we have to?" Like it was just so deflating, right? Because this is usually a really fun part of the doljanchi doljabi in the US, right? It was really deflating though. Our guests, our family did not care at all, and even when they won, it was like, "Oh, like whoop-de-doo," right? When even if you're not that excited for the $50 gift card, it's a party in America. You're supposed to at least pretend to be excited.
I feel like in general, Koreans don't know how to have fun, right? Compared to American culture.
They don't know how to celebrate.
Everything's so serious.
Yeah.
Like,
so, okay.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I also this is where I don't know enough about the history. Because another angle I thought might be the case, what might be happening is that, again, we've referenced this before, but Koreans just don't hold on to or value traditions. And it's just like, well, why are we doing this? Like, let's just not do it. It's gichana for everyone. Let's just like do the minimal and move on.
Yeah.
That's such a sad way to live life, right? Like you should look for opportunities to celebrate and take advantage of those moments to like invite friends and family and celebrate together. I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that more. Because I feel the same way. There's like, I don't know where it comes from. There's this sense in Korea where you're embarrassed to like express your excitement. Like they try to like downplay it all the time and always trying to say, oh, it's nothing.
Not a big deal. Yeah.
And I think that plays a big part of like why they don't celebrate things or why they don't like to have fun that much. And like, I mean, like getting rid of tradition is a separate topic, and I think we talked about it a little bit in our previous episode, but yeah.
Let me bring up another one. It's related. Is it Hwangap? Is that right?
Hwangap.
The 60th birthday? Again, my understanding is reaching 60 in your life used to be a huge milestone. Not everyone did it. So you kind of celebrate it. It's like a big deal. And you're supposed to do something really big for your parents on their 60th is my understanding.
Yeah.
And in America, like at least in the Korean American culture I know, it's still a huge deal. I don't know. Is it as big in Korea? Is that something that like is still done? And is it something that Koreans hold on to?
I think it goes hand in hand with minimalizing of the pegil or the 돌.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up, I remember my grandmother's 60th birthday. And we did it in like a hotel.
Yeah. Huge deal.
Yeah. And there was like an MC, like the... MC?
Announcer name?
Not announcer. Okay. What's an MC? What's an equivalent of the MC in
It's
English?
The same MC, the host.
Yeah, there's like a professional host. And then like, it was a big deal.
Yeah, I remember my parents flew to Korea from America just to attend their parents' 60th birthday.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah. And
sorry, I don't remember that I was told that. I was not born yet.
Yeah. And the reason why I said it's related to the tour thing is because again it lacks like the meaning of it. It is less important because it's like people didn't live that long back in the day, so like hitting your 60th is like a really big milestone and something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And now like people in their 60s look like people in their 40s,
That's
like
true.
30 years ago, right? So they don't want to make a big deal out of it, I guess. Like, it's not a big milestone. Like, I'm still young kind of thing.
We're neither of us are 60.
Yeah.
Do you think they really don't want to make a big deal about it, or they want to appear as if they're not? Do you think deep down they want people to celebrate them and have a thing? Or deep down they really, I just find that hard to believe that deep down they don't want to celebrate this. Or is there societal pressure to not celebrate and seem like you don't care?
I think there's definitely societal pressure because if no one celebrates it and if you do...
look at me, I'm special. It's like in Korea, there's a term, right? Main character syndrome.
Main character. Oh, really?
Isn't that a thing?
I don't know.
I think it's a negative if you appear like you live life as if you're the main character.
I don't know if it's a main character syndrome, but there's a word called 관종. Like attention hoarder.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that. Yeah, it is depressing.
So then in Korea, because I'll say in America too, like I do think I think 60-year-old, let's say Korean American or Koreans who have been living in America, they also don't make a big deal out of it. Mostly because like, hey, I'm still young. I think that's authentic. But for example, they do want to make their 70th now a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And so is that what's happening in Korea? Like they just push it to 70th? And
I think that's what's happening. Okay. But even maybe, who knows, like in 10 years, they're not celebrating
But is
their
that
70.
now, is a 70th birthday a big thing? Like do you and your friends talk about, what did you do for your parents' 70th?
Yeah. Speaking of which, I think it's coming up very soon.
For your parents?
Yeah, I think it's next year for my father. Yeah.
What's it called, by the way? It's not 환갑.
칠순.
칠순.
I was going to get into that because there's like a thing that they call for every decade of age that you age.
Oh, yeah. I only recently learned what 40 is in Korean.
What is it?
마흔.
Oh, no, that's the way how you...
Oh, wait, it's not that?
It's just the way how you read the number. I'm not talking about that.
But I did hear that's going away. Like, I think a lot of Koreans wouldn't even know 40 is 마흔. And what's 50, 60, 70 in that style of numbering?
Maybe, I don't know.
Do you know them all?
Yeah.
Oh, you're SNU educated.
Also, I'm old. That's why.
I heard like Gen MZ doesn't know like
I'm not
is
surprised.
40th.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Sorry, what is 50?
50?
Yeah.
In that sense?
Yeah.
Shin.
Okay.
Yeah.
서른 is 30, right? 서른, 마흔, 신. Okay.
And then 예순, 일흔, 여든, ahın.
Yeah. Okay, you lost me. Anyway.
Now that I say it,
sounds very old,
it's
right?
not surprising that Gen Z doesn't know. Okay. Anyways, what I was trying to get at is so there are phrases for each decades of birthday in Confucius term and a meaning to that.
Okay.
So I was gonna go through it.
Oh, I'd love to go through that. Yeah.
So 30, we call it 일입. And I just translated in English through AI.
Okay.
The age when your heart stands firmly on the moral high ground and is unmovable.
Oh, wow. Your heart stands firmly and is immovable.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 30.
Okay.
And so...
Sorry, this is Confucian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
40 is called 불혹.
Okay.
And so now you're 불혹.
For me?
Yeah. The age when you don't let the world get in the way and cloud your judgment.
Ooh.
Yeah. So now it means that you know enough that you don't get, do you feel that way?
I'll be honest, it sounds oddly similar to 30. When it's like my heart is firm, now my mind is clear.
Yeah. 50 is called 지천명.
Okay.
The age of realizing godly mandates.
So this is like purpose now, maybe? Realizing your purpose?
The 천 in 지천명 means sky.
Yeah.
And sky, the AI translated into heavenly mandates, but I don't think it's like a heaven as in like Western or Christian terms.
But like mission, or no? Like life mission and purpose?
Yeah, I think it's more like natural, like order of nature, kind of.
So 50 is about order of nature?
Realizing the order of nature, like how things work in nature.
Okay. So maybe wisdom, is that right?
Yeah.
So now you're wise. Okay. So 30 is my heart is set. 40 is my mind is clear. 50 is I have wisdom about the world.
Oh, I like how you're like connecting it.
Okay, let's go.
60 is called 이순.
Okay.
The age when your ears are tender enough to hear everything you hear and understand it objectively.
Sounds like wisdom still.
Maybe the entire philosophy of Confucianism is about wisdom.
Becoming wise in your older age.
Yeah. Anyways, so you're 불혹.
Okay.
Now.
Wait, but I want to keep going. How high does it go? 70, 80, 90? Does it reach 100?
I think it does, but I don't think people know it over 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the most famous one is 40.
40.
Yeah.
So now my mind is clear in a sense.
Yeah.
And
the age when you don't let the world get in the way and cloud your judgment.
Yeah. Funny enough, right? That does map pretty well to a lot of common thinking in the US about when what your 30s and 40s are defined by. Because, a lot of my friends are turning 40 with me. They're maybe into their 40s. I'm asking them, hey, how do your 40s differ from your 30s, etc. And yeah, really 40s is when like people stop giving an F about other people's thoughts.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm me. I'm comfortable being me. I'm going to live the life the way I want to live it. And so I think that's why people, a lot of people say they really enjoyed their 40s, maybe even more than their 30s. Yeah.
But I wanted to connect this with American culture here.
Okay.
Because I was very curious, because it sounded like your 40th birthday is a very big deal culturally.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand why it is.
Growing up, I never realized that either. I might be like a modern culture, but out of nowhere, like, celebrating your 40th became like a big deal. Maybe it's just because all my friends are in a similar age as me. It just seems like everyone's doing these big blowout 40th destination parties or whatever it might be. And I'll be honest, like, it feels like a much bigger deal than my 30th. I don't remember doing a big thing about my 30th. Maybe
like, more important to you or culturally?
Culturally. Yeah. I mean, honestly, personally, birthdays don't carry much significance for me. Like, I say that honestly. Of course, I appreciate celebrating it, but I don't need to celebrate it. It's not a big thing to me.
Do you think that's like a Korean thing? Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think it's tied to not celebrating birthdays growing up. Whether that was a Korean thing, whether it's a maknae thing, whatever it might be.
To which extent did you not celebrate it? Like, did it totally just pass by like any other day?
No. Like, I told you, right? We would get pizza, maybe cake or ice cream.
Did you get presents from
with my family? Parents? I don't remember getting presents. I think I might have, but I don't remember it. So
interesting.
Yeah, it was just another. We got to eat something I wanted to eat, maybe.
So would you say in American culture, like modern American culture, the 40th birthday is your biggest birthday in your life?
I think 21st is still the biggest. The
21st.
The legal drinking age is definitely going to be the biggest, but it certainly feels like the 40th has become a big thing. I was going to say, like, I wonder if it's like social media is playing into that. It's like, you see other people doing big blowout 40th birthday parties. It also just might be my bias. Like, this is what people my age are doing, so I just see it more. And also it's tied to another thing I wanted to get your thoughts on. I've raised it before, but in the US there's a very big term or very commonly used term and well-known concept of your midlife crisis. And 40th, I think, is the definition of your midlife. And so you can say it different ways. You're on your back nine, right? More of your life is behind you than ahead of you. And I think that's a tough thing for a lot of people to grapple with. And so, people, we've talked about this before, but we'll go through these crises in different ways, right? Whether it's, buying a sports car is like a common one, or trying to get fit, or, just reevaluating, I think, everything in your life from the bottom up, how you spend your time, how you spend your money, who, what relationships you value, and, thinking about, okay, what am I going to be known for? What legacy do I want to leave behind? So anyway, I think that's why the 40th maybe has become this, because it also signifies like this midlife crisis. You're entering the second half of your life. And so, I don't know if that's a term or a concept or thing in Korean culture, but I think that's why 40th has become a big thing to me. Yeah.
As far as I know, there's no such thing or concept in Korea.
Yeah.
And again, when I hear about it, I mean, I knew the term and I knew what it was before. But when I hear about it, Sounds very individualistic. It's like all about me.
My life, yeah.
And if I think about like a Korean mindset, it's more about like the responsibilities that I carry and how I can fulfill that, not about like me and my life.
Yeah.
It sounds very individualistic, like self-centered thinking.
Yeah. I mean, when you put it that way, it is,
Yeah.
right? But for me, as a person born and raised in the US, it's just so natural,
Yes.
right? And it's funny you say that. Like both my dad and my father-in-law, when they talk about like, oh, you know, because I'm not working right now, I don't really know what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, what's my life purpose? Both of them look at me like, you're an idiot. Your dad's like, you work because you can work. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law is like, look at your family. That's why you work. You work for them, right? Who cares about purpose, right? And it's just such a different perspective, I think, on work in particular. And, you know, work is such a big part of your adult life, how you spend your time. People spend more time at work than you do at home with their hobbies, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But anyway, you perfectly channeled my father and father-in-law's voice. It's like, no one cares about you.
Yeah.
Just work.
Yeah. Speaking of midlife crises,
Yeah.
what's a like a general age of this phase?
I think that 40 to 45.
40 to
I think
45.
40 may be a bit early. I think 45 would be your textbook midlife crisis mode, but definitely in your 40s. Yeah.
Do you think about doing anything stereotypical?
No, I mean, I don't care about sports cars, right? Like,
I remember I jokingly telling you whether you doing something.
Oh yeah,
related to
it was
midlife
about
crisis.
my doing the Seoul to Busan bike ride.
Oh yeah.
You were like, "Is this your midlife crisis?" It's a very healthy one.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like retaliating towards your aging. Right?
Yeah.
I can still do this.
You know, I have for a variety of reasons. I think I'm in the best shape of my 30s. I mean, I'm not 30 anymore, but probably in the best shape I've been in a decade. Definitely not as good as my 20s, but I think, again, I've mentioned this before, but one of my uncles, his advice to me was like, hey, you know, if you want to play golf in your old age, you need 4 things. You need time, you need health, you need money, and you need people to play with, right? And I think really thinking about those 4 things, it's pretty centering.
Yeah.
Right? None of them is about legacy, career. Of course, career can help you get money. You can make relationships with your coworkers, of course. But it's just like what really matters in life. And anyway, so health is one of them. There's a common saying, health is wealth. And so I think getting older has definitely caused me to think more intentionally and focus more on my health. That's for sure. And, you know, the other things as well, relationships, how I spend my time, and, you know, how I spend my money. So, yeah.
You know what I thought about when you said you're in the best shape in your 30s, in your decade?
What?
Like, look what not working gives you. Because, like, that's what I thought about, too, when I was, like, not unemployed for how many months? Like, 2 or 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, you felt like in good shape?
I felt like this is how normal human beings should live, right? Doing what they want to every day, like resting if they want to, like reading, you know, going to any event that you want to. Yeah.
You know, Jun, I don't want to get into this. We're not a technology podcast. But I do think that's my vision for the future and why I'm very optimistic about things like, you know, AI and, you know, robots and autonomous this or that. I hope over time people can spend more and more of their time in that state, like that unemployed. You're not struggling just to like take care of health and food and shelter. You can really spend your time and money the way you want to.
I hope so.
So,
yeah. So you're living the future.
Take that, father and father-in-law. But yeah, Jun, what are your very stereotypical like 환갑 or you said 70th, I forgot the Korean term.
Oh, 칠순?
칠순 gifts or things to do in Korea?
Things to do. Like you as the birthday person or... Like...
So my understanding is like the kids generally will do something for the person who's turning 70, like your parents. So what is a common thing that kids do for their parents on the 칠순?
I think stereotypically it was the thing that I saw from my grandmother's 60th birthday, like reserving a venue at like a hotel,
Yeah.
inviting a bunch of people. Sometimes they like invite actually like professional singers and like they dance. And
So hosting basically a grand old party.
I don't know exactly. I've heard a lot of people going to like cruise cruise vacations. Maybe that's a thing.
Okay.
I'd have to research now.
Well, yours is coming up.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
think
giving a lot of money.
Oh, just giving money, just straight up 용돈, just like spending money. Okay, okay. Yeah, I think those, you mentioned one of the two I was going to bring up as like stereotypically done in America is the cruise, like go on a cruise together as a family, which we did for my parents' 70th. We went on a Disney Alaska cruise.
Oh, nice.
But
I've
the
never
other
been on a cruise.
Yeah. But the second stereotypical one, I think, is just sending them on a trip by themselves. So I don't know, go to China, go to like Vietnam, send them on a trip they wouldn't maybe normally spend money on themselves. So yeah.
I don't think my father would think that as a celebration. Maybe we'll edit this out.
Buy him a sports car, June. Okay. I had some other things I wanted to bring up. In general, June, it feels like you said, Koreans don't celebrate things as much. But I wanted to go through some things and see if there's Korean corollary.
Okay.
So for the wedding, we've talked about weddings before, but I'll just mention these briefly. There is a whole suite of things associated with the wedding in the US, like just so many. From like the engagement photo shoot, let's say, to the bachelor and bachelorette party, to the bridal shower, to the rehearsal dinner, to like post-wedding brunch, to the honeymoon after that. So I don't know. I wanted to see if like that was like a big thing as well, and if all those map to Korean, I think, wedding traditions.
So I'm not married myself, so I only know indirectly. But as far as I understand, the marriage starts with the so-called 상견례, is the meeting of the families. That's when it actually seriously begins, right? So you reserve like a very classy restaurant, usually like Korean traditional, like we call it 한정식 restaurant, where the two families meet.
Yeah.
Usually it's like the direct family, like the people in subject, their parents and their siblings.
Oh, siblings are invited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't, but usually they do.
Yeah.
Again, this is the relationalism thing, but Koreans traditionally treat it as a merging of the families, not the individuals. So like, it's the first time they meet. And there are a lot of times where marriages break up after the family meeting. So I think in modern day wedding culture, the 상견례, the meeting of the families, is actually the start.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after the 상견례, then they set a date. And so I think in my understanding, the very first thing that they do is reserve for a venue, because that can take like, sometimes the more popular ones can take over a year.
Yeah.
So you reserve a venue and then you do like the photo shoot, I guess, with like the sudume and all.
So that would map to the engagement shoot, which is totally a thing in the US.
Yeah. So sudume is short for studio dress and makeup. So you do like a photo shoot in a studio, right? It's so funny that I'm explaining this because I've never been through this.
Yeah.
And these like Korean studio like photo shoots are amazing.
They're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Our guest speaker E for our previous episode, he specifically did it in Korea again, right? Just for the sake of doing it.
We went
Korea.
to as well, and we've done our door photo shoots and family photo shoots for Christmas cards or whatever. Yeah, these studios are amazing. Yeah.
And then so this is like a very unique Korean thing. After everything's said and done, they do the proposal. which might be very odd for an American to hear. Yeah. But it's very in line. There are a lot of like cultural implications here. Number one, in which again, marriage is not about the two individuals. So the marriage starting from the groom proposing to the bride doesn't make sense. Yeah. Because you'll have to have like a family agreement before that. Yeah. So the event itself doesn't make sense. And also why I'm saying there are multiple cultural implications is because like the showing off and the materialistic aspect. Yeah. Right? Because you can totally just not do it. Yeah. Right? Because it doesn't even make sense. Yeah. but you have to do it in Korea because like you have to show.
There's pressure to do it. Yeah.
You have to post it on Instagram and like you have to give like the luxury bag and the rings and all that.
It's similar in America. I mean, like everyone knows the diamond industry is a scam. Like these things aren't even special.
Yeah.
But they're expensive. You're supposed to save up 3 months' salary to buy one.
Yeah.
Right. And there is like a movement to go away from all this pressure, but you know, by and large, it's still done. So totally same in the U.S. Yeah.
And then, so on the wedding day, there's a money giving process. So the first thing that you do is you go to, like, there's a table with, I don't know, like a cashier, accountant, which is usually like their cousin or like your best friend.
Yeah.
The groom's and bride's best friend. So depending on whether you know the groom or the bride, you go to their side and like you first write what's it called? The book that you write your name
guest
on.
book, yeah.
Yeah, you write the guest book. And that's really important because that's how they base whether you came or not.
And what you gave or not.
Yeah, that plus the actual wedding photo.
Yeah.
And then you like put the money in the envelope and give it to in the table.
Yeah.
And they would usually give out like a ticket, like a meal ticket.
I
just realized that I'm getting too deep into
I know. I was going to cut you off.
Yeah, but anyways.
If anyone in the audience is interested in learning more about weddings, please refer to our episode. I do thank you next. Yeah, we talk about how wedding and wedding factories.
That's true. I don't know why I went too deep into this, but maybe we can edit this out.
Jun, but I wanted to talk about this briefly, which is pebek. It's just in line again with I think one of my takeaways is that Korean Americans seem to be upholding the traditional Korean things a lot more than Koreans, modern Koreans. You know, pebek, for example, is one of them. So I think that's not commonly done in Korea anymore. And, you know, I think a lot of Korean Americans like to do it because it's like, oh, we want to feel like we're Korean. But ironically, it's not done in Korea. Okay, there's 2 more things I wanted to touch on. The first is, I think because America is so diverse, what I really appreciate in hindsight now is that because there's all these different cultures that you're exposed to and you have friends at different backgrounds, you get to celebrate their like cultural parties as well. And, you know, they often all are pretty similar and they map very closely. So, you know, for example, you know, in Chinese culture, they have the equivalent of the Baegil, the 100-day celebration, but they call it the red egg and ginger party. And again, it was for the exact same reasons, but, you know, slightly different variations than what the Baegil is. But, you know, we've been to many of those. Growing up, I had a ton of Jewish friends. So I think I went to over 10 bar and bat mitzvahs, which is I think it was 8th grade. So you're turning 13. In Jewish culture, you throw a big party as well. And again, it's like a mini wedding. It's like a huge deal.
And they give you a lot of money. That's what I heard.
You're supposed to give them money. Yeah. Relatives give the kid money.
Yeah. And it becomes like a seed fund for starting your business, is what I heard.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you know more than me. I don't know what they used it for, but I do know they can get maybe several $1000s. So it's a lot.
That's what I heard. Yeah. So good enough to start your own business.
In Hispanic culture, I think my wife grew up in Southern California, a lot of Hispanics. So quinceanera, I can't pronounce it properly, but that's like a girl's 15th birthday in Hispanic culture. Mexican culture.
Have you been to an Indian birthday?
I have not been to an Indian birthday, I think. Yeah.
I haven't either. I was just curious because I just assume they'll do a hell of a party.
Oh, yeah. Indian wedding?
Indian wedding,
I have been to Indian weddings. Yeah. They're blowout events, like week long, whatever. But I do want to, I think it's pretty cool to see all these different cultures and heritages. They all have similar, you know, milestones, right? Like maybe coming of age, reaching puberty, whatever. Yeah. But it's, you know, they're all slightly different. But the final thing I wanted to bring up is that during COVID, actually, I think it made us all realize in the US that there might be a culture of over celebrating these milestones. And it gets quite exhausting to the point of like, you know, there's all this societal pressure to do it. So you have to do it. And COVID was a great excuse to do none of it. Like you couldn't have parties, you couldn't get together. And I think especially for parents of young kids, it was so freeing. Like, oh, like we don't have to have a big party. Again, just like my birthdays growing up, just order pizza, cake, celebrate with your immediate family and maybe parents, like, you know, grandparents. There was something nice about that, right? There's no stress, there was no pressure, there was no like buying of gifts every weekend. June, it got to the point before, COVID, I remember literally it was almost every weekend we were going to a kid's birthday party. I mean, and it was all the same. I mean, and again, it's awesome, but it's also tiring, right? You always have to buy a gift, get a card, right? Like, make sure it's not the gift that they gave you. You're not like re-gifting or whatever, right? You go there and it's like socialization, the same small talk, the same thing over and over and over. It's like you have to find an original venue because you can't just copy something someone else did, right? So this thing got really, again, it's still nice. Like I said at the beginning, you want to celebrate these events. But COVID, I will just say, was a really prevalent, I think, sentiment amongst parents in particular. Why do we have to go to these extremes, and why do we have to almost over celebrate every little milestone? It's nice to just have something small with family and just to do it quietly. And again, there's something to be said about that, which I think is the more common thing now in Korea, just to not over celebrate everything.
You're becoming more Korean every year.
No, but June, this was like in COVID. This was like 3-4 years ago. I think all the parents we knew felt exactly the same way.
Really?
Like, hey, this is kind of nice to not feel this pressure and burden to have a big party for every single milestone. So,
but I like the American culture of trying to like get an excuse to celebrate things for like, little things. And I think that reflects the optimism that American culture has. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They make every little excuse to celebrate.
June, have you heard of like divorce party?
I was thinking more in lines of like St. Patrick's Day.
Oh yeah. Every little cultural thing. No, but divorce parties are a thing now. Like, anyway, what I think is ideal is some maybe middle ground, and really just like letting everyone do what they want and not have to conform to societal expectations, right? So that's in America. If you don't want to have a big party and invite all your friends, like your kids' friends, then don't do it. No one's gonna, blame you for being a bad parent. Oh, think of your kid. He's gonna feel left out. He's gonna feel like he doesn't have friends. No, just like let them do it the way they want. And in Korea, if you want to celebrate whatever it is you want to celebrate, let them, right? And not judge them for it. Like, oh, you're making it about you. That's so individualistic.
Yeah.
Just let everyone live the way they want to live. And I think that will be a good ideal outcome.
I love how we're ending it, right?
Yeah.
You're ending with like a very good closing and like a lesson.
So wise in my 40s, June.
Oh yeah. Your judgments aren't clouded anymore.
Let your judgments not be clouded by societal expectations and norms. June, I think we have one new Patreon subscriber before we end. So let's shout them out.
It's Becky, right?
Becky Ajima.
From the Midwest. Thank you so much. I wrote your email, and it was like one of the most fulfilling moments after doing this podcast. I hope you're listening. Yeah. And I really want to meet Becky.
Yeah.
If she decides to come visit Korea.
She visited in 2022.
Yeah, she went to like Seoul and Busan. Right?
Yeah. So if you ever come again, it would be great to meet you. And I want to +1 that, June. I think just having these email interactions or random Instagram direct conversations with people that listen is probably the most meaningful thing for me for doing this podcast. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Please continue to write in, somehow get in touch with us in whatever way possible, because it really means a lot and continues to motivate us to do this every week. So
we're gonna end this.
Oh, should we? June, I think we can end this by, we've had a lot of milestones on our podcast.
Oh, you want to talk about it?
Just list a few of them out.
Okay.
We just crossed.
We cannot not talk about this because this happened like in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. June, the last 2 weeks have been crazy for our social media in particular.
Yes.
We have 10,000 followers on our Instagram account.
Yeah, it was a crazy 2 weeks because I've never experienced Instagram blowing up like this. Because to the point where I had to turn off notifications. Yeah, like every 30 seconds there was a follower.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like every pull to refresh, like another 100 followers.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And to be clear, we're not big time.
We're not big time yet, but
relative to expectations,
but more than we ever imagined.
More than we ever imagined.
Yeah.
So one milestone, we crossed 10,000 followers on Instagram. We crossed 500 subs on YouTube.
Yes.
we crossed 10,000 also downloads of our podcast. So that's 10,000 episodes that have been listened to. It's a big milestone.
And we have a 50,000 view count reels.
500,000.
Oh, is it 500,000? Okay,
June.
That's 500,000.
Dude, Koreans don't use K to signify 1,000, do they?
Yeah, that's the most
Dude, this is a side
confusing
rant.
part of Korean numbering
For
system.
me, the man one, so confusing because they count dollars in 10,000 ones.
Yeah.
So hard for me to get.
And they do like the what's it called?
What? The comma versus
the comma and
dot.
But they follow the US way of putting the commas, which is so confusing.
So
Anyways.
confusing. But yeah, 500,000
500K views reels
of our most popular reel.
Yeah, which was about the health, gym culture and hygiene.
The most random topic.
We'll talk about all these like popular reels and milestones in some other episode.
Yes. But I just wanted to shout them out since this, again, the topic today was about celebrating milestones. Yeah. So we should do that. And all right.
Well, whoever is listening to this podcast, if they have any, like even this smallest thing to celebrate, let's all celebrate. So congratulations.
Or don't if you don't want to.
Oh, yeah.
Don't feel any pressure. Pretend it's COVID. Okay. Thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Bye. What did everyone want to say? Yeah, so if anyone in the audience or any of our viewers are interested in our sweet merch, let us know. These hats are pretty sick, I have to say. They're really nice.
It says Yagi.
I rock it everywhere. And yeah, if so, we'll think about doing merch. But if not, we won't.
What's the next merch that you want to make after the cap?
T-shirts? That's t-shirt, hoodie, sweatshirt. Those are all standard.
Stanley cups. They're in trend.
They definitely are trend. What would be like a Korean merch?
Korean merch?
Yeah. Like keychains? Koreans love keychains.
I think like the canvas bags were trending.
Canvas bags? Like custom canvas bags?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's serious.
What else is there? I don't know. Merch itself is like, I think it's a very American culture. They do it a lot in like the tech scene.
I see.
Oh, I know a very Korean merch.
What is it?
The slippers for you to wear inside the office.
Really? Like custom logo slippers?
Yeah.
Yo, Yagi slippers.
That's a very Korean thing.
Yeah. Also, let us know if you prefer it to be Korean American podcast branded and not Yagi. All right. Okay, that's it. Bye. If anyone in the audience is interested in learning more about weddings, please refer to our episode number 4. We go super deep on weddings then.
Oh, you memorize it or did you search?
No, I remember.
No, you searched it.
100% I remember.
You remember that it was episode 4?
I mean, let me double check. But
that's super impressive.
Yeah. No, okay, episode 5.